Terraform Labs is Do Kwon, founder of the collapsed Terra blockchain, a $60 billion implosion that has knocked down some of the biggest institutions in crypto, breaking his silence. Zack Guzman, co-founder of Trustless Media, flew to Singapore to capture the exclusive for the new NFTV show, Coinage. Have a listen.
So looking back, this seems super irrational, but you got to put yourself in the shoes of a founder, and the ecosystem is inching close to $100 billion. If you've had a series of wins and you get to that scale, then you almost don't think that you could fail.
You were a crypto god at that point, basically.
I wouldn't say god. I would say that we had the confidence and the trust of a lot of people in and out of the industry. And that made us very successful. Just the reality of it is we tried to build the best currency in the world, and it just didn't work.
Joining us now with more is Trustless Media co-founder Zack Guzman. Welcome to the show, Zack. So great get with this interview. I wonder how you got about getting a sit-down interview with Do Kwon in the first place, and was he humbled, or did he seem cocky and self-righteous as ever? Has he learned any lessons?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time in the making. This is one that I think a lot of people have wanted to go out and chase, because there are so many questions still around exactly what happened and kind of, I guess, how much Do Kwon actually knew about some of the pitfalls here. Obviously been discussed. And yeah, for 2 days, sat down with him in the office. It's kind of sparse there now at Terraform HQ, as they were kind of moving over the team to Singapore, but did learn kind of a lot about kind of how he's been reflecting on this over the last 3 months, and kind of, as you saw there, some of the hubris, I think, that he points to as parts of the reasons as to why he maybe didn't see some of those pitfalls looming. If you are to believe that that really is what led to the downfall. Obviously, you guys have spoken to Do Kwon before as well, but clearly, I think still trying to move past that failure, shall we say, on what is now Luna Classic and Terra Classic, and really, I guess, moving the attention now to Luna 2.0.
Is he sorry, or is there some sort of sense of, some wrongdoing in this? I mean, billions of dollars have been lost. Crypto firms have gone bankrupt because of this. So what is he doing now about going forward?
Yeah, the crypto firms going bankrupt because of Terra's collapse is an interesting kind of question. Just kind of, the way that they interacted together, and, whether or not Celsius having funds in Anchor was a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not going to comment on. But in regards to kind of Do Kwon, when you talk to him, it's mixed emotions. Obviously his character came up in our extensive 4 hours in one day and 4 hours in the second day discussion that everyone can go watch for themselves on Coinage.media by minting a free NFT and checking out the project there. I mean, it is something where I think in crypto commonly you'll see just so much hubris and people talking about their project with such confidence that really drives people to believe in it. And Do Kwon was no exception to that rule. But now, having a few months to look back on it, you do get the sense that he understands kind of where maybe some of this was stretched too far when we talk about maybe overlooking some of those risks. And I pressed him on two of those in regards to kind of what he knew about the Chai payment system and the uncoupling there of kind of how Terra had seen some growth taper off, and whether or not he was fully upfront with that. And he admitted to maybe not being fully upfront with the community around that piece, as well as, the other claims out there that he's the Elizabeth Holmes of crypto. And he had responses to that as well in regards to, Terra worked fine up until the point it didn't, which is the case with a lot of algorithmic stablecoins you guys have covered before. It's just a matter of whether or not a man as smart as Do Kwon could have built something like that and not have known that that's the way that these things end. And that is kind of what this 30-minute package really kind of gets at, is how is this different than those other projects that have failed before?
The other thing that this project did was there was a huge human toll to it. I mean, you're talking about people ending their lives over this. I mean, did he address that all? Did he address not just the institutions that collapsed and wiped out hundreds of millions of dollars for a lot of people, but the life savings that were lost by so many people who bought his shtick on Twitter, to be honest. I mean, this was a whole, a whole show, if you will, and almost a cult-like persona that he pushed on social media for months and years. Did he address that at all? Did he address the people that suffered on a very real basis, people who otherwise had nothing to do with crypto but bought into what he was selling?
Yeah, we discussed that, and obviously, as I discussed in the piece at Coinage.media, that people can go check out. I lost money in this project too. There are a lot of people out there. Granted, it wasn't life savings that I lost in this, but my co-founder did have a family friend who killed himself. Obviously, you're mentioning suicides. There were a few in the Terra community in this downfall. It was a very dark period of time, and discussed that with Do Kwon, and he talked a little bit about kind of the tough calls he made to those personal to him. In the wake of the collapse, and did have obvious regrets around kind of the impacts that his project had on the wider world.
Yeah, is he still at it? Is he living well?
He's still at it. I might have sucked at Titanic.
And that he siphoned off billions for himself. And, while many people lost money, he was able to get enough money to make sure that his lifestyle was sustained.
Yeah, the question of siphoning off billions is one that repeatedly comes up by a lot of accusations in crypto and on crypto Twitter. As far as pushing him on that and getting answers around that, he was obviously cagey around what he wanted to reveal when it comes to those wallets, and has posted publicly a few of them.
Praise to him.
Well, what is interesting though is to see kind of his reaction to naming his daughter Luna, and how he's still kind of building around. There have been plenty of people in crypto who have had things like this fail and didn't want to stay public or didn't want to try and build back. And it is interesting to kind of watch, I guess, the ongoing process within the Terra walls there, as I was there to kind of explore what the strategies are, what comes next if you do have a collapse like that. How do you rebuild trust? Obviously, I think that just based off of your guys' reaction alone and anything else that's on crypto Twitter, it's going to be an uphill battle. Yeah, but it was interesting.
Why does he need to do
beliefs?
Here's the thing, though. Does he explain why? Does he explain why he himself needs to be that guy to do it? Like there are hundreds of thousands of people in crypto who are trying and doing new products. What is it that he needs to do that's so important that he's willing to say, hey, yeah, I might have knocked out $60 billion. Yeah, I might have caused, dozens of suicides. Yeah, I might have, wiped out people's life savings. But I'm so special, I need to do this again. Did he actually address that? Like, why him? Why can't he just, go open a cafe somewhere and just leave everybody alone? Why does he need to be that guy to keep doing this?
He did address that. He actually addressed it as kind of a pitfall of the first version of Terra, as kind of like, leaning into it. I mean, to me, it's a fascinating story of kind of, obviously the ascent is kind of, I think, what drew so many people to cover the Terra story. And you think about kind of the impacts on a man in that run up, and flying too close to the sun, obviously, is a story that a lot of people would tell. You can choose to believe whether or not that made him blind to anything or not. But I do think it's pretty fascinating to listen to him talk about that aspect of his story. But to your point, Lawrence, I mean, when we talk about what he wants to do for Luna 2.0, that was an admission of his, was that I think, these are his words, he says, I think kind of in the buildup, too many people put too much attention on me. That might have been, directly his fault. But as he looks to build out Luna 2.0, it doesn't sound as if he's leaning as much into that. And again, trying to stress the community aspect, which there's a fair question of what community is left after something like that. And I think a lot of people have pointed that out. But just to see him building in this and still being public, obviously this is the first time he's speaking since the collapse. And again, to your guys' point, I think it would have been a lot easier to just run away. And we got into kind of the details about why he pushed so hard in the collapse to kind of try and siphon off tokens for community members around Luna 2.0. And that's something that,
easier.
I wanted to ask a little bit more about, because it's like, why was that so important? And kind of, what is the legacy you want to leave behind? So it's fascinating 30-minute package that we put out. And so far it's been interesting to see the reaction around, a man who Do Kwon calls himself the most hated man on the internet in the wake of this.
Certainly, there's been a lot of controversy over this video. One of the biggest critics of Do Kwon is FatManTara, and I just want to read a tweet that he put out responding to this interview. Do, why not have an interview with someone more neutral and respectable like Bloomberg or Fortune instead of someone who has been consistently shilling you for years, almost as if he's paid? And unfortunately, FatManTara is referring to you, Zack, and Coinage. And will you adjust the billions you cashed out of the system? So I want to give you a chance to respond to that. I see you responded over Twitter, and whether or not you have regrets over the positive feedback and reporting you did during the whole Terra Luna cycle.
No, I don't have any regrets around highlighting Terra as a project. I mean, he came on my show and I was at Yahoo Finance. He came on your guys' show. Everyone interviewed Do Kwon. I interviewed him as well and stressed the positives and negatives of the project, just like every other journalist. But I think, focusing in on it was key because, it was going to be one of those projects where it was either going to succeed and be the best thing in crypto, and proving out, decentralized money, I think, is something that is becoming increasingly clear why that's needed with what's happening with Tornado Cash and everything else in USDC right now. But, in terms of whether or not a Bloomberg or a Fortune would be better, I would push back on that with the whole idea of why we created Coinage in the first place, was to bring together a bunch of different people to eliminate bias in crypto coverage and bring in different beliefs and basically have a decentralized show, which is what Coinage is all about. And so that's really kind of exactly, those criticisms are exactly why I wanted to create something like that, a Web3 decentralized show. Criticisms out there for Do Kwon are fair, I think, right? And specifically FatManTara, I won't weigh in on that anonymous guy because I don't know him. But, I think if anyone watches this piece, I think they'll walk away with a bit more clarity in terms of who Do is and what he's grappling with right now in the wake of all this.
Well, thoughts and prayers to him.
Do you think that there is some maybe conflict in getting too friendly with some folks in crypto, being in the crypto media in general?
Yeah, I think it's a big problem in crypto coverage, which is again kind of why we're trying to build out a decentralized model where it's not just one person or some rich billionaire out there funding all these things. In the case of Coinage, we are backed by John Woo and SBF, kind of starting this decentralized wave of getting people to mint NFTs that then will correspond with owning the show. So it's a different model around kind of trying to build a show where the audience can weigh in and work with the creators to create, I guess, a better type of model for media. It's a fun experiment so far. And this being the first piece of content out there has worked, I guess, in terms of this was clearly something that the entire crypto community wanted to see. And it's been exciting to see the reaction thus far. But yeah, if anyone wants to watch the full piece, I'll plug it one more time, Christine, at Coinage Media.
All right. Zack, thanks so much. And once again, great get with the interview. That was Trustless Media co-founder, Zack Guzman.
Did he say he was going to take 10 showers after he interviewed you? That's what he said after us. He had to take 10 showers.
He called me a redneck.
He called Christina redneck and said he had to take 10 showers after interviewing us. Was it?
I wear
it
that
at
as a
least
badge
that
of
hard?
honor.
Yeah. Did
Luckily,
he at least say that?
I don't know which one of us is more of a redneck, Christine, but I did not get called that. So that is one thing that did not happen out there. But
yeah, well, maybe
you've
next
done
time.
Your job when the insults come flying with legitimate and serious questions.